Okay, when you turn the power on the machine, you want to make sure your knife switch is in the on position to make sure power is running to the machine. Okay, when turning air onto the machine, you want to make sure your main air supply is on that supplies this valve. Turning this valve on, you want to turn these on slowly. You don't want to just slam them on. Now you have air supplied to your air manifold on the machine. After you turn your main air supply on at the ball valve, you come over here to your filter, regulator, and lubricator. This is called our FRL or air manifold. You want to turn this switch on. This will supply air through the machine. This is your dryer, which will dry the air out. It will automatically fill up with water. If you get water in your system, it's a water separator. This is your regulator, which will be set at 90 psi. This is your oiler, which, if necessary, will oil your machine. Okay, once you have your air and power on the machine, you come over here and you turn your control circuitry on, and then you power up the machine. And that'll bring up all your displays and all your stuff. This is your e-stop. This is your e-stop in case you need to emergency stop the machine, shut it down immediately. This is your disable auto feed, which will just disable your auto feed. The indicator lights right here we're looking at will basically give you an overview of what's going on with the machine. When you turn the machine on, you get all the lights up to the start button. Now you see the start's not on, so you know that you haven't started it. Once you hit the start button, you should get all your lights on. If you have to hit an e-stop, you'll go back and look at your lights, and the first one that's out will tell you what your problem is. And as you see, the lower light is not lit, and that is the e-stop light. Now we've pulled our e-stop out, we know we've got lights all the way up to the start, so we just have to hit our start button and we have all of our lights on. Okay, so once we get our machine powered up, your LED screen will come up for your selector switches for what you want to do. And what we have here is you can select for a 5/8 radius door, 1 3/8 or an 1 3/8 with a 1/4 radius, 1 3/4 door with a 5/8 radius, 1 3/4 door with a 1/4 inch radius, 1 3/4 with a 1/4 inch radius. And we can also do a 2 1/4 door with a 1/4 radius. So that's your selector switches for what type of hinges you're going to put on the machine, on the door. Over here we have our back section. This turns on and off the back section. And down here we have our selector switches for if you're doing a lock bore, a faceplate, or a bolt drill. And if you're going to do a deadbolt, you would come down here and you would turn this on as well. And that gives you a deadbolt and a faceplate and a lock bore. You can go deep or shallow with these boards in case you're doing a finger pull. And you turn the back section on by turning the switch on and then selecting all this. The front section is just an on or off. And then you can select if you do not want to run 2 or 4, number 2 or number 4 head hinges. Over here we have our feed. You have auto feed, and then you have feed through in case you just want to run a door through without machining it. This is our width adjust, which turns our width adjust on or off. Our back set just gives us our 2 3/4 or 2 3/8 back set. Down here we have our door stop, so you can manually, if you're in feed off mode, you can manually pop your stop up or down. And your left or right hand switch here, you'll pick if you have a right or left hand door coming in, and that will coincide with your door stops and the back section. And this one is just your door clamp button. And if you're in feed off mode or manual mode, that's how you'll clamp your door to machine it. Manual operations over here is just, it gives you the ability to manually move your lock location, your out feed stop location, or manually feed your door in or out. And this is our width adjust in case you want to open up the back section or close it up for your different size doors. Maintenance, it'll go through and it'll tell you all your inputs, how many doors you've ran, how many total doors you've ran, hours you ran the machine. This will show you your inputs for all your different switches and stuff on the machine to make sure everything is running right or in the right location. And these are just different inputs on different frame node boxes, junction boxes. and then back to main menu. In manual operation, what you want to do, you have a burn chip out. You hit burn chip out and you have the ability to manually cut a chip out for your back section, or manually cut your chip outs for your front section, which we'll go over in a minute here. Faceplate extend time. What that does is gives you the option to extend the amount of time it takes. If you're cutting a bigger hinge or a bigger strike plate, you can extend that time to make it cut a longer pocket. And that goes to the front section and the back section. So the hinges, if you run a big hinge, you can run extended time, so it gives you time to get all the way across that big large hinge. Same with the faceplate. Horizontal pin check, what that is when you change over to 5/8 radius from 1/4 inch radius, you have pins that we'll go over in a minute that you need to change. And what you do is you hit that pin check and it moves the head out of the way so you're accessible to your pins to change them out. This is our digital readout for our lock location for our left or right hand door. This is our digital readout for our outfeed stop for our left hand door locations. This is our digital readout for our hinge location, and this is head 1. There'll be 1 on each head. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to change this thing from a 1/4 inch radius to a 5/8 radius hinge. What you need to do is you need to remove this and put a different one in for 1/4 inch radius. You need to change this pin, and you need to change the pin over here. So I'm going to change my turret first here for our 1/4 inch radius, and it just unscrews. Make sure you don't lose the spring. And we're going to come down here and grab the other one, and we're going to put it in here. And your 3.5 inch hinge is going to be red, your 4 inch hinge is going to be white, and your 4.5 inch hinge will be blue. So you want to set it accordingly. Once you removed your turret, you put it down here, and there's a threaded hole in here. You can thread your turret back in there for your other size hinge. Then you come over here and you pull this pin out. You change your 3/8 pin for a 3/4 inch pin. Once you've swapped out your turret and changed your lower pin, you hit horizontal pin check. And that moves your head out of the way so you can change your final pin, which is right here. And then you hit horizontal pin check back. And now you're ready to run a 5/8 hinge, a 5/8 radius hinge, when we were running a 1/4 inch radius hinge. Okay, so when changing from 0 degree door to 3 degree door, what you want to do is slightly push the head forward so you can get in here and remove these blocks. Once you've removed these blocks, you just let the head back down, and that's all there is to it as far as moving to 3 degree. These are your blocks that you remove to change it from 0 when they're flipped up into position. Now you're at 0. When you move these blocks out of the way, there's 1 on each side. That allows it to fall back to 3 degree. Once you've removed your blocks to set it to 3 degree, you want to come over here and you want to lower this thing 3 notches. 1, 2, 3. And then relock it with the little kip handle on the side, which holds us in this position. Okay, so what we have here is our hinge depth turrets. We have red for a 1/4 inch radius, 88 thousandths deep. We have white, which will do a 1/4 inch radius, 110 thousandths deep. Then we come over here to our blue. Blue is 5/8 radius, 80 thousandths deep. Down here is the black one. That is 110 thousandths for a 5/8 radius. Then you want to adjust these, you loosen that bolt and loosen that bolt so you can slide your router back, and then you just twist your turret accordingly. And then slide your router back, retighten your bolts down, and you set your hinge depth. Okay, so when you home the heads, what you want to do is you want to make sure this is in position up against the stop bolt over there. This bolt right here is part of your homing sequence. You want to make sure this plate is sitting really nice and tight up against this bolt right here. Then you loosen your handles up here, which lock the heads into position. And then you just take your wheel and you move it over, until it stops. This bolt right here is one of the other bolts for the homing position. You want to make sure you bring it all the way up against this steel block until it touches, and now you're locked into your home position. Then you go to this one and you do the same thing. You just move it over until it stops, and each head you just drag them over until they stop. These are your other bolts for your homing position. When you move your number 2, 3, and 4 head, you want to make sure these go over and touch together right here, and then you're in your home position. And that works for number 2, number 3, and number 4 head. Once you've homed your head, you want to make sure you get all your numbers zeroed back out again in case your numbers are a little off. And the way you do that is you touch the screen, and you get a reset down here. You just hit reset, and it puts out your home number, and then you touch the screen on top again, and you're good to go. Okay, when homing the outfeed stop, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're in slow mode, and then just run it backwards until your numbers over here stop moving. Then you touch the screen, reset it, touch the screen again. Now your outfeed stop is homed. For the lock bore, we'll do the same thing. We'll do the same thing for the lock bore. You want to come over, you want to go reverse, you want to make sure you're in slow mode. Make sure you're in slow mode, you reverse until your numbers stop changing. Once your numbers have stopped changing, you know you're at your home position, you can reset it, and your lock bore locations are rehomed. When you're setting your hinge locations for your door, for your hinge centers, all you do is whatever your hinge location is going to be. I've picked 74. Bring your head over to your number, 74, and lock your handles down. And then the other 2 hinges will be whatever your hinge locations are. You'll just put that wherever it is. And lock that head down. And that's all there is to locating your hinges for your right-hand doors. Okay, so now once we have our hinge center set, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to choose what we're doing with those hinges. Right now we have an 1 3/8 door in there, and we have a 1/2 inch cutter to do our 5/8 or 1/4 inch radius. So we turn our 1 3/4 door, 1/4 inch radius on. Then we go over here and we turn on our back section, our hinges, and we're going to do a bore all the way through, a faceplate, and a bolt drill on deadbolt and lock. And that's all there is to turning everything on. And then you'd come over here with your lock location, and that's how you set where you want your lock and your deadbolt. Once we set that, we're going to do this manually. So we're going to pop our stop up, we're going to feed the door back to it. Once the door has hit the stop, clamp it up, and it will automatically go once I hit start. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to set up our outfeed stop for a left-hand door. What you want to do is you want to add your first hinge, your last hinge, and your size of hinge, and that will give you your stop location. So right now we're doing a door with hinges at 2 and 74. So we're going to take 74, add the 2, 75, 76, and then our 3.5 inch hinge we're doing, which would be 80.5 inches. So then you come over here to your outfeed stop. In slow is easier. Sorry, my math was off. It's 79.5 inches. Okay, now that our out-feed stop is set, we can change it to a left-hand or right-hand, a left-hand door. Go over here, turn on our back section, turn our hinges on, and determine what we want to do, if we want to do 2 bores or a single bore. We're going to do 2. To set our lock location for a left-hand door, what we do is we take the door stop minus wherever we want our door, wherever we want our doorknob and lock. So if we go 79.5, and if we want to bore at say 44, and all the math is right here for that. You take your out-feed stop, the distance from the top of the door to the center of the bore, and that will equal your lock, which comes out to 35.5. Okay, then we turn everything on, hit our door stop, feed forward to it. Clamp it and run it. And that's all there is to running a left and a right hand door. And all the math obviously is right here, so you can add up where your bores need to be. At the end of the day, to power down the machine, you just turn it off. At the end of the day, when you turn your main power off on the machine, you're ready to go home, you can walk over here, turn your knife switch off, and that kills power through the panel to the machine.